Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to cover the current affairs. Which country is the largest borrower of Asian Development Bank as of 2020? So, India is the largest borrower of Asian Development Bank and India is the fourth largest shareholder of Asian Development Bank. ADB has approved approximately $30 billion loan to India. Which rating agency estimated that India would grow at 0.2% in 2021? Now the question is, which is the lowest ever estimate done for the country after this COVID-19 pandemic? So recently Moody investors downgraded the GDP growth rate forecast for India and it is 0.2% and it is the lowest estimate made for our country till date. Which Indian private sector bank will hold 30% of stake in Max Life Insurance in its joint venture with Max Financial Services? So Axis Bank is going to hold 30% stakes. Actually, recently Axis Bank announced that it would acquire additional 29% stakes in Max Life Insurance and therefore Axis Bank will hold 30% stakes while remaining 70% of the stakes will be held by Max Financial Services. Which country is to chair the 5-membered BRICS bloc for 2020? So Russia is the chair for 2020. BRICS stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa. Now recently Russian Prime Minister Mikhail Mishustin was tested positive for coronavirus. Petersburg Dialogue is associated with which field? So it is associated to climate action and recently it was in news as the 11th session of Petersburg Dialogue was organized and from Indian side Union Minister for Environment, Forest and Climate Change Mr. Prakash Javadekar participated in this dialogue and this was done through video conferencing. The Petersburg Dialogue has been hosted by Germany since 2010 to provide a global platform for informal political discussions about climate change and climate action. So this Petersburg Dialogue was hosted by Germany and it was co-chaired by UK, that is United Kingdom. After failing to pay the host fee, which country lost the hosting rights of 2021 Men's World Boxing Championship? So we lost the hosting rights of 2021 Men's World Boxing Championship and now Serbia is going to host it. As per the recent study of National Institute of Biomedical Genomics, the novel coronavirus has mutated in how many different types? So as per the study, it has mutated in 10 different types and this study was conducted by the National Institute of Biomedical Genomics in Kalyani in West Bengal. An international commission named USCIRF is headquartered in which city? So it is in WDC, that is Washington DC. What is USCIRF? It is US Commission for International Religious Freedom. Recently it was in news as it released an annual report and as per that report it has classified India under CPC category. What is CPC? It means countries of particular concern and as per this report India is a country of particular concern for increasing assault on religious minorities. The versatile Bollywood actor Irfan Khan, who passed away recently, had won National Award for which movie? So he had won the National Award for Pan Singh Tomar and the actor passed away recently and he won this National Award in 2013. Apart from him, recently another well-known Bollywood actor Mr. Rishi Kapoor passed away. Which Indian state has introduced a scheme to levy COVID-19 cess for diesel, petrol and motor spirit? So this decision was taken by Nagaland. So it has introduced a scheme to levy COVID-19 cess for diesel, petrol and motor spirit. The decision has been taken by the state government of Nagaland. On the other hand, recently Meghalaya has levied the sales tax surcharge at 2% on the motor spirit including petrol and diesel. Jean Georges Noverre is associated with which day that is celebrated in the month of April? So it is related to World Dance Day. And every year on 29th of April, this World Dance Day is celebrated to commemorate the birth anniversary of Jean Georges Noverre. According to the recent report from IDMC, that is International Displacement Monitoring Center, in which country the world's highest number of people were displaced last year? So it is our country. And recently the report Grid 2020 was released. Longlang and Chuilan are the names of which migratory birds which were recently mentioned by Union Environment Ministry. So these are the names of Amur falcon. And recently the Union Environment Ministry announced that these birds named Longlang and Chuilan were satellite tagged. That means a satellite is monitoring these birds and therefore they are providing information regarding the flying pattern of these birds. The Kaveri Water Management Authority, that is CWMA, was constituted to address the dispute over water sharing among how many states or union territory. So the government of India had constituted Kaveri Water Management Authority in 2018 to address the water dispute among Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Karnataka and Puducherry. As of 2020, which state has provided employment to highest number of laborers under MGNREGA scheme, that is Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme. So Chhattisgarh has provided the maximum number of employment under this scheme. Rajasthan is on second position. That means in Rajasthan, second most number of laborers are employed under MGNREGA scheme. T.S. Trimurti, who was seen in news recently, has been appointed as the next permanent representative of India to which global organization? So Mr. Trimurti has been appointed as India's ambassador or permanent representative to United Nations. He replaces Mr. Syed Akbaruddin. What is the name of veteran freedom fighter and National Communal Harmony awardee who passed away recently? Her name was Hema Bharli and she passed away recently. She was the follower of Gandhian principles and she was a well-known freedom fighter. The task force on NIP recently submitted their report to the Union Finance Minister. Now the question is, what does I stand for in NIP? So NIP is National Infrastructure Pipeline. So I stands for infrastructure. And recently the task force on NIP submitted its final report to Union Finance Minister. And this National Infrastructure Pipeline was announced during the recent budget. So this exercise aims to invest ₹100 lakhs crores on infrastructure of our country, and this final report on NIP submitted by this task force projects the total infrastructure investment of ₹111 lakh crores during the period of 2022-2025. The Asian Development Bank has financed South Asia's first loan under its result-based lending, that is RBL modality, to which country? So recently India got the loan of $346 million loan from Asian Development Bank to provide reliable power connection in rural areas in Maharashtra. According to the Open Budget Survey conducted by the International Budget Partnership, that is IBP, what is rank of India in terms of budget transparency and accountability? So recently this survey was conducted by IBP and it rates the level of budget transparency from 0 to 100. So New Zealand is on top position as per this survey, and New Zealand got the score 87, while India is on 53rd position and India got 49 score. The global average is 45. So this survey rates the level of budget transparency. The United States has placed 10 countries including India on a priority watch list. Now the question is, it is related to which issue? So it is related to IPR framework, that is Intellectual Property Rights Framework. And recently USA has placed 10 countries including India in PWL. What is PWL? It is Priority Watch List. International Energy Agency announced that lockdown in India has led to 30% fall in the country's energy demand. Now, where is the headquarters of International Energy Agency? So it is in Paris in France, and as per this IEA announcement, there is a 30% reduction in demand due to lockdown. Kovilpatti Kadlai Mittai has been granted the GI tag, that is Geographical Indication tag. Now, in which state this Kovilpatti is located? So it is in Tamil Nadu, and the popular candy of Tamil Nadu, Kovilpatti Kadlai Mittai, has been granted this GI tag. COVID-19 and the World of Work is the title of report recently released by which international organization? So it has been released by ILO. ILO is International Labour Organization, and every year on 1st of May, International Labour Day is celebrated. So as per this report of ILO, almost 1.6 billion workers in the informal economy will face problems due to this lockdown. Bank of Schemes, Ideas, Innovation and Research portal has been launched by which union ministry? So it has been launched by MSME ministry. What is MSME? It is micro, small and medium enterprises. So this portal was launched by MSME Minister Mr. Nitin Gadkari through video conferencing. Who has been appointed as next chairperson of PESB? What is PESB? It is Public Enterprises Selection Board. So former Finance Secretary Mr. Rajiv Kumar has been appointed as next chairperson of PESB. He will replace Mr. KD Tripathi. Now PESB is the high-powered body and it is under Ministry of Personnel, Public Grievances and Pensions. What is the objective of Jagananna Vidya Divana scheme that was launched by Andhra Pradesh government? So we have covered this scheme in our previous lecture, and this scheme is for college fees reimbursement. So as per this scheme, the reimbursement amount would be credited directly into the accounts of mothers of students. That means the college fees will be transferred in the account of mothers of students, and this will help the students, and it is a scheme by Andhra Pradesh government. What is the name of program on health and risk communication focused on COVID-19 that was launched by NCSTC? What is NCSTC? It is National Council for Science and Technology Communication. So the name of this program is YASH, and YASH stands for Year of Awareness on Health. So this initiative has been launched by NCSTC, and this NCSTC is under DST. What is DST? DST is Department of Science and Technology. Project Monitoring Unit, which was recently launched by the government, is associated with which industry? So it is associated with coal industry, and yesterday only we have covered this in our news section. So this PMU will speed up the process of operationalization of coal mining. PMU stands for Project Monitoring Unit. So this will boost the coal production in our country. Now, Coal Ministry was also in news as recently it launched a web portal for star rating of coal mines. What is the objective of this star rating? This policy for star rating has been formulated by Coal Ministry, and this has been started to promote the sustainable mining practices in our country. RBI recently extended the benefits under its SLF MF scheme. What is MF? MF stands for mutual funds. So recently, RBI launched a 50,000 crores scheme to enable banks to extend the liquidity support to mutual funds. And the name of this initiative is Special Liquidity Facility for mutual funds, that is SLF-MF. How many core sectors are considered while measuring the output of industries for ICI in our country? What is ICI? ICI is Index of Core Industries, and 8 sectors are considered for measuring ICI. These 8 sectors are crude, coal, cement, natural gas and fertilizers, refinery products, cements and steel. Sorry, cement has already been covered, so electricity is one. So these are the 8 core sectors that are considered while measuring ICI. Which country announced to provide 3 million assistance to India through its PAHEL project? What is PAHEL? It is Partnerships for Affordable Healthcare Access and Longevity. So recently, US decided to provide this assistance, and this PAHEL is a collaborative project between US, AID and IPE Global. So the objective of this initiative is to ensure affordable healthcare. Which state was formed along with Maharashtra as a result of Bombay Reorganization Act, which came into effect on 1st of May 1960. So Gujarat came into picture. That means Bombay Reorganization Act, which came into effect on 1st of May in 1960, divided the then Bombay province into 2 separate states. Veteran Indian personality Chunni Goswami, who passed away recently, was associated to which sports? So he was associated to football, and he passed away recently. He was the most successful Indian football captain. Who has recently assumed charge at the next Economic Affairs Secretary after superannuation of Atanu Chakrabarti? So the new Economic Affairs Secretary is Mr. Tarun Bajaj. What is the name of famous author and historian known for chronicling Delhi who passed away recently? So his name is Ronald Vivian Smith, and he was well-known author and historian. He passed away recently. He was well known for his books. According to the recent survey conducted by CMIE, that is Center for Monitoring Indian Economy, which state recorded the highest number of unemployment rate in April 2020? So Tamil Nadu recorded the highest unemployment rate in April 2020 as per the survey conducted by CMIE. Which is the first state to bring its migrant laborers after lockdown through a special Shramik train run by Ministry of Railway? So Jharkhand is the first state to do so. That means after lockdown, Jharkhand is the first state to bring its migrant laborers back to the state. And for this purpose, Ministry of Railways started special Shramik trains. The Election Commission of India has granted permission for holding elections to the legislative councils in which state or union territory amid the COVID-19 pandemic? Right answer is Maharashtra. As per the recent statement of World Meteorological Organization, the ozone hole over which region has depleted significantly? Right answer is Arctic region. So as per the WMO statement, the ozone hole which was caused by ODS, that is ozone depleting substances, is now closing. Now in the context of ozone, there is a protocol, and the name of this protocol is Montreal Protocol. Thangjam Dabali Singh of Manipur has been conferred the Order of Rising Sun. Now this award is associated to which country? So this award is associated to Japan, and Dr. Thangjam Dabali Singh, who is from Manipur, has been selected for this award from Japan. So this award is given to the person who contribute in Japanese culture, environmental protection or in international relationships. Check how a variety of black rice was recently given GI tag. It is found in which state? So it is found in Manipur. We have already covered this question yesterday. Now Manipur was also in news as it is the first state in Northeast to become corona free. Tripura is the second state in Northeast India to be free from coronavirus. So the first question is, UV disinfection tower named UV Blaster has been developed in India by which state-owned Organization. So, a laboratory of DRDO developed this UV blaster, and the name of this laboratory is Laser Science and Technology Center. It is in New Delhi and it is laboratory of DRDO. So, this has developed a disinfection tower named UV blaster. Now, this equipment can be used for the disinfection of surfaces like electronic equipment, computers, and other gadgets. Usually, these equipments cannot be disinfected with the traditional chemical methods. India SME Services Platform is a digital initiative of which financial institution of India? So, it is an initiative of SIDBI. What is SIDBI? It is Small Industries Development Bank of India, and it is a Lucknow-based entity, and recently it announced that it is going to launch a digital platform. And what is the name of this platform? The name is India SME Services Platform. So this platform will provide information to MSME about the various schemes as well as how MSME can get financial and credit support. This will also inform MSME about the various initiatives taken by the government for MSME sector in the context of coronavirus. Next question is, leading journalism and research organization Pointer Institute's International Fact-Checking Network, that is IFCN, launched its chatbot on which social media handle. So this chatbot was launched on WhatsApp, and this IFCN reviews the fact-checking organization based on its code of ethics. Dar Yassin, Mukhtar Khan and Channi Anand, the photographers at Associated Press, were recently in news for receiving which award? So these three personalities were in news in the context of Pulitzer Prize for Photography, and they have won this Pulitzer Prize for feature photography, and it is a prestigious award in the field of journalism in US. What is the theme of Online Contact Group Summit of NAM, that is Non-Aligned Movement, which held in May 2020? So the theme was United Against COVID-19, and recently this event was organized and Prime Minister Mr. Modi participated in this event from Indian side, and this event was hosted by the current chairperson of NAM, and Azerbaijan is the current chair of NAM. Nagma Ke Sangharsh Se, a program that was in news recently, is associated with which field? So this program is associated to art and culture, and recently the National Gallery of Modern Art organized this virtual program to showcase its artwork, and this program is based on various themes, and the theme of this week was Artist by Artist, and it was dedicated to Ravindranath Tagore. Birsa Harit Gram Yojana, Nilambar Pitambar Jal Samriddhi Yojana, and Photo Ho Khel Vikas Yojana. These three schemes were in news recently. Now these schemes are associated to with state of India. So these are the schemes of Jharkhand government. Which steel company has withdrawn its membership from the apex steel industry body, Indian Steel Association? So recently Tata Steel announced its withdrawal from the Indian Steel Association. The president of Indian Steel Association was the CEO and MD of Tata Steel, and he is TV Narendran. So he was the president of ISA. Now he also stepped down from this position of president of ISA. The 2021 Commonwealth Youth Games, which has been rescheduled to 2023, was previously planned to be held in which country? Right answer is Trinidad and Tobago. Actually, due to COVID-19 crisis, the games has been postponed to 2023. Now, it was announced that for 2023, Trinidad and Tobago will be given the first preference to host Commonwealth Youth Games. So now, these games have been postponed to 2023. Which country has successfully isolated the monoclonal neutralizing antibody, which is considered as an important step in the treatment of COVID-19? So recently, IIBR, that is Israel Institute for Biological Research, claimed that it has isolated the monoclonal neutralizing antibody, and this was announced by the Defense Minister of Israel. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has been awarded a commemorative World War II medal by which country? So recently Russia awarded Kim Jong-un a commemorative World War II medal marking the 75th anniversary of the victory over Nazi Germany. So this award was given to Kim Jong-un to recognize the role of North Korea in preserving the memory of Soviet soldiers who died in the territory of North Korea. According to the Lost at Home report published by UNICEF, which country constituted the highest number of new internal displacement in the world in 2019? So, this is a report by UNICEF, and as per this report, India constituted the highest number of internal displacement in the world. And the title of this report is Lost at Home. So, India is followed by Philippines, Bangladesh, and China. And as per this report, more than 5 million people faced internal displacement in our country. Which country is set to launch a remote sensing satellite named Arctica M to monitor the Arctic climate and environment? So, Russia is going to launch this satellite to monitor the Arctic climate, and the name of satellite is Arctica M. Now, Russia was also in news as recently Mikhail Mishustin was appointed as the Prime Minister of Russia. Mikhail Mishustin was also in news as recently he was tested positive for COVID-19. Russia was also in news as recently WADA banned Russia for 4 years. WADA is World Anti-Doping Agency and the headquarters of WADA is in Canada. What is the name of operation launched by Indian Navy to repatriate the Indian citizens stranded in other countries? So, two keywords are Indian Navy and second keyword is to repatriate the Indian citizens. So, because of this COVID-19, a lot of Indians are stuck in various countries, and this Operation Samudra Setu is an operation by Indian Navy to bring back people, and the first phase of this operation will be associated with Maldives. Garud, that is Government Authorization for Relief Using Drones portal, which was in news recently, was launched by which Union Ministry? So, we have already covered this thing in yesterday's news segment, and it is an initiative by Ministry of Civil Aviation along with DGCA, that is Directorate General of Civil Aviation. And why this was started? For drones, that means in order to fly drones in our country, you need permission. Who has received the DST, that is Department of Science and Technology's Young Career Award in Nanoscience and Technology for this year? Right answer is Professor Saurav Lodha, and he is a professor in IIT Bombay, and he received this award for contributing in the development of logic transistor. What is the name of campaign launched by Niti Aayog to ensure the well-being of senior citizens during COVID-19 pandemic? So the name of this campaign is Surakshit Dada Dadi Nana Nani Abhiyan. And for this campaign, Niti Aayog has collaborated with Piramal Foundation. Nigah is a new initiative with state government that aims to impart awareness among the family members of people coming from other states. So, what is the background of this initiative? Due to lockdown, the migrant workers now started coming back home, and in order to spread awareness among the family members of those who came back home, the state government of Himachal Pradesh started this Nigah initiative. As per the recent report of CMIE, that is Center for Monitoring Indian Economy, which area of country recorded the maximum unemployment rate after COVID-19? So, as per this report of CMIE, the employment rates of India was 27.11% for the week that ended on 3rd of May. Toman, which was in news recently, is the new currency of which country? So, we have already covered this segment in yesterday's news discussion, and the country is Iran. So, recently Iran Parliament passed a bill, and as per this bill, Toman is going to be the new currency of Iran, and 1 Toman is equal to 10,000 riyals. Which global alliance hosted the Coronavirus Global Response International Pledging Conference to raise funds for COVID-19? So, this was organized by European Union. Why it was organized? To raise fund for COVID-19 response. And USA as well as Russia did not participate in this conference. and the target set by European Commission for the initial funding was approximately 8 billion US dollars, and Canada was the highest contributor. As per the recent judgment of Apex Court, which category of banks may be included under SARFAESI Act. Now what exactly is the SARFAESI Act? It stands for Securitization and Reconstruction of Financial Assets and Enforcement of Security Interest. So this is an act of 2002, and recently, as per the Supreme Court judgment, the cooperative banks which are involved in banking activities are considered as a banking company. Hence, the SARFAESI Act may be modified to include the process of loan recovery by these cooperative banks. Who are the beneficiaries of YSR Matsyakar Bharosa scheme of Andhra Pradesh government? So the scheme is related to fishermen, and under the scheme the state government will provide financial assistance of rupee 10,000 to each fisherman family. So this would help the fisherman community during the lockdown period and during the marine ban period. Who has been reappointed as the chairperson of Parliament's PAC, that is Public Account Committee. So the chairman of this committee is selected from opposition party, and Mr. Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary has been appointed as the chairperson of this committee. Now this committee was formulated as a result of Montesquieu-Chelmsford reforms. It is important to note that after 1950, the committee became a parliamentary committee, and since 1967, the chairperson of the committee is selected from the opposition party. An affordable model of PPE, that is Personal Protective Equipment, designed and produced by which Indian Armed Force has been certified for the clinical usage. So recently, the PPE designed by Indian Navy has been certified for the mass production and clinical usage. And recently, INMAS, that is Institute of Nuclear Medicine and Allied Sciences, authorized this PPE, and therefore it certified this personal protective equipment. Mukhyamantri Yuva Yogayog Yojana, that was in news, is an initiative of which state government? So it is an initiative of Tripura government, and recently it was in news because the Chief Minister of Tripura, Biplab Kumar Dev, launched an online portal, scholarships.gov.in, as a part of the scheme. UNEP, that is United Nations Environment Programme, extended the term of which Indian personality as Goodwill Ambassador. So recently, the term of Dia Mirza was extended by UNEP as Goodwill Ambassador. What is UNEP? It is United Nations Environment Programme. The headquarters of UNEP is in Kenya, in Nairobi. The first high-level foreign dignitary to travel to India after COVID-19 restrictions, Jalmay Khalilzad, was the special envoy of which country? So Mr. Khalilzad is the special envoy of USA, and he is a special representative for Afghanistan reconciliation process. And recently he visited India as a part of his 3-nation tour, including Qatar and Pakistan. Which day is celebrated by Monaco headquartered IAAF in month of May every year? So it is World Athletics Day. So the headquarters of IAAF is in Monaco. What is IAAF? It is International Association of Athletics Federation. And for the first time, this World Athletics Day was celebrated in 1996. Which chess player won the recently held $250K online chess tournament, considered to be the richest so far? So this chess tournament was organized by world chess champion Magnus Carlsen, and he won this after defeating his American counterpart Hikaru Nakamura. So this is the richest chess tournament so far. Which day is celebrated in the month of May to observe and to create awareness on the blood related disorder? So it is World Thalassemia Day, and it was on 8th of May, and it was celebrated to create awareness about the blood disorder thalassemia. It is a genetic blood disorder that affects the production of hemoglobin. The Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank approved a 500 million loan to support India's COVID-19 operations. Now, where is the headquarters of AIIB? So the headquarters is in Beijing. Beijing is in China, and this AIIB recently approved 500 million loan to support India in COVID-19 operations, and this loan is co-financed by World Bank. The chief of World Bank is David Malpass. The strategically important Ghatia-Bagar-Lipu Lake Motor Road that was inaugurated recently is in which state of India? So, it is in Uttarakhand, and recently our Defense Minister, Mr. Rajnath Singh, inaugurated this, and it is important as it connects the last Indian post on Indo-China border with the rest of the nation. So it is important as the Kailash Mansarovar Yatra from Lipu Lake Pass is going to be more convenient for pilgrims now because of this road. Humanitarian aid and disaster relief, that is HADR outreach, that was in news recently, is a diplomatic initiative of which armed forces of our country. So it is an initiative of Indian Navy, and as a part of this initiative, Indian Navy has deployed 5 of its biggest warfare vessels to provide essential medical supplies to the friendly countries in Indian Ocean region. And these 5 Indian naval ships are INS Kesari, INS Jalashwa, INS Maga, INS Airawat, and INS Sardul. So these ships are going to provide essential supplies to the friendly countries in Indian Ocean region. Which global organization has recognized the advisories released by 2 institutes of ICAR, that is Indian Council of Agricultural Research. So recently, FAO, that is Food and Agriculture Organization, recognized the advisories released by 2 institutes. One is ICAR CIFT, that is Central Institute of Fisheries Technology, and second one is ICAR CIFRI. Now this first institute issued advisories related to the fisheries sector. Read Along, that was in news recently, is an application of which multinational company? So it is an application of Google. Actually, this application was initially launched in India in the name of Bolo app to help kids in developing their reading skills. And this app had a reading buddy, and the name of that system is Diya, which is the only mangrove forest in world inhabited by tigers. So it is Sundarbans mangrove forest, and it is spread over India and Bangladesh, and it is the only mangrove forest in the world inhabited by tigers. And recently it was in news because the West Bengal Forest Department conducted a survey, and as per that, the count of tigers increased from 88 to 96 in this Sundarban Delta. Which international organization has launched 6.7 billion USD global appeal to fight the COVID-19 pandemic as part of its updated response plan to help the fragile nations? So this was announced by UN, that is United Nations, and this is a plan to provide more support to countries which are more vulnerable. The Secretary General of United Nations is Antonio Guterres. Jharkhand banned the manufacturing, sale and storage of 11 brands of pan masala for a year to curb which harmful chemical which is present in them. So recently, Jharkhand government decided to ban the pan masala, and this decision was taken to curb the harmful chemical, and the name of this chemical is magnesium carbonate. So this magnesium carbonate is present in the pan masala and it is carcinogenic, that means it can cause cancer. Which international rating agency has projected zero economic growth for India this year? So as per Moody's Investor Service, India's economic growth is going to be zero this year. Last month, the rating agency estimated that Indian economy is going to grow at 0.2%. Now it revised its estimation and it is 0%. What is the new borrowing target of government for the current financial year after the gross market borrowing target has been raised from the budget estimate? So, due to lockdown, the economic activity is dull, and therefore government, in order to provide boost, government is spending more and more, and therefore for this fiscal stimulus, government is borrowing from market. So recently, government has increased its gross market borrowing target for the current financial year to 12 lakh crores. So as per the latest budget estimate, the target was 7.8 lakh crores, but now the target was revised and it is 12 lakh crores. Because of the COVID-19 pandemic, the economy is crippled, and therefore government is taking necessary steps for fiscal stimulus. The India International Exchange Limited, that is India INX, that was in news recently, is a subsidiary of which Indian Stock Exchange? So it is a subsidiary of BSE, that is Bombay Stock Exchange, and India INX is India's first international stock exchange located in Gujarat's GIFT city. What is GIFT? It is Gujarat International Finance Tech City. The Union Defence Ministry has signed a contract with which power firm India for infrastructure modernization of airfields. So recently, Defence Ministry had signed a contract with Tata Power for the modernization of infrastructure at airfields. And as per this agreement, the airfields of Indian Air Force, Coast Guard and Indian Navy are to be modernized. So after this modernization, it would facilitate the operations of aircraft in even poor weather conditions. Which Indian state or union territory supplies the majority of jute bags used in packaging across the country? So you might have seen the jute bags which are used for packaging of food grains, and West Bengal supplies almost 95% of the jute bags used in our country. And because of this lockdown, the production of such jute bags was stopped and therefore there is a shortage. So recently the government announced that even plastic bags can be used for packaging of food grains as there is a shortage of jute bags now. So that is why it was in news. Where is the headquarters of IOM, that is International Organization for Migration? So the headquarters of IOM is in Grand Saconnex, and this IOM is an intergovernmental organization that provides services and advice regarding migration. When is the time of remembrance and reconciliation for those who lost their lives during Second World War observed by the United Nations every year? So this is observed on 8th and 9th of May to remember those who lost their lives during Second World War. Who was awarded the first Nobel Peace Prize for founding International Red Cross movement? So Henry Dunant of Switzerland was given the first Nobel Peace Prize for founding the International Red Cross movement and for initiating the Geneva Convention. Which Indian state or union territory has launched Pravasi Rahat Mitra application developed in collaboration with UNDP to aid incoming migrants citizens? So this app was launched by Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh Yogi Adityanath, and this is developed to provide support to the migrant citizens. Which state-owned institution has approved the project for developing HMABS, that is human monoclonal antibodies that can neutralize the SARS-CoV-2 virus? So CSIR, that is Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, through its NMITLI program has approved a project towards the development of human monoclonal antibodies. What is NMITLI? So NMITLI is New Millennium Indian Technology Leadership Initiative Program. COER Board signed a memorandum of understanding with which institute to establish a center of excellence for COER application. Now what exactly is this COER? So COER is coconut fiber. That means it is the fiber extracted from the outer husk of coconut. And for this, the MOU was signed with IIT Madras to establish a center of excellence for COER application. What is the theme of World Migratory Bird Day 2020 that was observed on 9th of May? So the theme was Birds Connect Our World. And every year on 9th of May, this World Migratory Bird Day is celebrated to raise awareness about the conservation and ecological importance of migratory birds, and this day was first introduced in 2006. The phenomena Aribada that was in news recently is associated to which species? So it is related to turtle, and to be specific, it is related to olive ridley turtle. And when the turtles lay eggs on the coast, this phenomena is known as Aribada. WHO and the United Nations Postal Agency have released a commemorative postage stamp on the anniversary of eradication of which disease? Right answer is smallpox. So recently, the Postal Agency of United Nations and WHO released a commemorative stamp on the 40th anniversary of eradication of smallpox. IGIB of CSIR, that means Institute of Genomics and Integrative Biology, has partnered with which Indian company to commercialize the Feluda test kit? So for this, IGIB and Tata Sons partnered for the commercialization of Feluda test kit. Now what exactly is Feluda? It is affordable and easy to use test kit for COVID-19. Who has been appointed as director on the Central Board of RBI? So recently, Mr. Tarun Bajaj has been appointed as the director on the Central Board of RBI. Recently, he was appointed as the new Economic Affairs Secretary. Present RBI Governor is Shaktikant Das. Recently, he was nominated as the Banker of Year for Asia Pacific region. Among the road and infrastructure cess, special additional excise duty that were recently hiked by the central government, which one is passed to the state through devolution? So recently, central government hiked these two and one will be passed to the states, and it is going to be the special additional excise duty. So central government increased the duties on petrol and diesel. However, in the retail price, there will not be any change. Amar Sonar Bangla, the national anthem of Bangladesh, was written by which Indian poet whose birth anniversary was celebrated recently on 5th of May? So it was written by Rabindranath Tagore, and recently his 159th birth anniversary was celebrated. This Amar Sonar Bangla is the national anthem of Bangladesh, and Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore wrote this song during the first partition of Bengal announced by Lord Curzon in 1905, and later it became the national anthem of Bangladesh. As per the recent report of IAMAI, which areas of country had the highest number of internet users? So as per the recent report, rural areas had more internet users as compared to urban areas, and this was for the first time. Now what is IAMAI? It is Internet and Mobile Association of India, and it is a non-for-profit organization registered under Societies Act. NADA, that is a national organization under Ministry of Sports, is set to conduct its disciplinary hearing online. Now the question is, what does D stand for in NADA? So it is National Anti-Doping Agency, and therefore D stands for doping. And recently it was in news as it announced that it is going to conduct its disciplinary hearing online because of this COVID-19 pandemic. Based on the recommendation of which committee, the Defense Ministry recently approved the abolition of 9304 post in Military Engineering Service. So, this decision was taken on the basis of recommendation of Lieutenant General Sekatkar Committee. As per the recommendation of this committee, these posts in MES, that is Military Engineering Services, were abolished. Which state government has raised the retirement age of government employees from 58 to 59. So this decision was taken by Tamil Nadu government, and now the retirement age has been increased, including retirement age of teachers and PSU workers. So previous one was 58, now it is 59. Project card is associated to which of the following product? So it is related to the COVID-19 testing kit, and recently DBT, that is Department of Biotechnology and Niti Aayog, launched this CARD project. What is CARD? It stands for Consortium for Affordable and Rapid Diagnostic Project. Robert Baptiste is associated to which field? So he is associated to cybersecurity research. He is a French cybersecurity researcher and ethical hacker, and he writes on Twitter with his pseudonym Elliot Elderson. What is the name of application launched by Ayush Ministry as a part of the launch of clinical research on Ayurveda interventions? So recently, Union Health Minister along with Union Ayush Minister launched the clinical research studies on Ayurveda interventions in tackling COVID-19, and they also launched Ayush Sanjeevani app. This app has been developed by Ayush Ministry, and the objective of this app is to generate data on the acceptance and usage of Ayush recommendations among the public and to record the impact of these recommendations in preventing the COVID-19. What is the permitted stay period of an individual in India to be included as NRI in the context of tax calculation? So NRI stands for non-resident Indian. Now, if someone is Indian, they need to pay tax in India. However, if someone is not Indian, then they need to pay the tax in the country in which they are residing. So the Union Budget of 2020 proposed to reduce the stay period of an individual in India to 120 days from the previous 182 days. The provisions of which act is relaxed by the state to increase the working hours of laborers. Right answer is Factories Act. So the provisions of Factories Act were relaxed to increase the working hours of laborers to revive the economic activity. And recently, Uttar Pradesh suspended key labor laws for the period of 3 years through an ordinance. What is COVID Kavach ELISA that was in news recently? So it is a testing kit. Pune-based NIV, that is National Institute of Virology, has successfully developed this indigenous antibody detection test kit for COVID-19, and the name of this test kit is COVID Kavach ELISA. Now this NIV is under ICMR. ICMR is Indian Council of Medical Research. It is under Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. Through, that is Defense Research Ultraviolet Sanitizer, is developed by which organization? Right answer is DRDO. So DRDO developed an automatic sanitization cabinet named Dhruv. Actually, it is developed by RCI, that is Research Center Imarat at Hyderabad, and it is associated to DRDO. BP R&D is an organization under which union ministry? So this BP R&D stands for Bureau of Police Research and Development, and it is under MHA. Now, why this organization was in? It was in news as recently it released a manual in the context of fake news to help investigators and police officers to identify fake news. Now, this BPR&D was established under MHA in 1970, and this is a think tank which was formed for the modernization of police force. Hari Shankar Vasudevan, who passed away recently, was associated with which profession? So he was well-known historian. We have already covered this news yesterday's news segment. So apart from him, recently former Lok Sabha MP Raja Rangappa passed away. ICMR, that is Indian Council for Medical Research, announced a research collaboration with which company to develop a vaccine for COVID-19. So for this purpose, ICMR and Bharat Biotech International Limited are going to collaborate to develop a vaccine. Where is the headquarters of United Nations World Tourism Organization? So the headquarters of UNWTO is in Madrid in Spain, and this organization is responsible for the promotion of tourism. Now recently it was in news because as per its latest report, the international tourism could decline by 60 to 80% due to this COVID-19 pandemic. Which day is celebrated in India on 11th of May to mark the achievement of nuclear test made at Pokhran in 1998. So recently on 11th of May, National Technology Day was celebrated to mark the day on which India conducted its nuclear test at Pokhran in Rajasthan in 1998. As per the recent data released by RGI, that is Registrar General of India, in SRS Bulletin, which state has the worst infant mortality rate in our country? So this SRS stands for Sample Registration System, and this data is released by RGI. RGI is under MHA. Which Indian state witnessed the death of 13,000 pigs due to the outbreak of AFS, that is African swine fever? So recently the first instance of African swine fever in our country was reported in Assam, and it led to the death of approximately 13,000 pigs. the Suraksha Store initiative has been launched by which union ministry? So this initiative was started by Ministry of Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution. Why it was started? The aim of this scheme is to educate the Kirana store owners about the safety guidelines in order to prevent the transmission of this coronavirus. Pranvayu is a respiratory health awareness program launched in which Indian city? So it was launched in Bengaluru and it is an initiative by BBMP. What is BBMP? It is Brahat Bengaluru Mahanagar Palika. So this is an awareness initiative about the self-examination of respiratory health for the city dwellers. What is HR 6819 that has been discovered by the European Southern Observatory, that is ESO? So this HR 6819 is a black hole, and recently the La Silla Observatory of ESO discovered this black hole, and the name of this black hole is HR 6819, and this observatory is situated in Chile. As per the new guidelines issued regarding the Arogya Setu app, what is the maximum number of days the data can be stored? So recently, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology issued guidelines in the context of Arogya Setu app, and as per these guidelines, the storage of data beyond 180 days is prohibited. That means maximum 6 months, and after that data cannot be stored, and users can seek the deletion of their data from the government records. It is important to note that any kind of violation of these guidelines by Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology are punishable under Disaster Management Act of 2005. Which Indian state has launched the new initiative FIR Aapke Dwar? So it is an initiative by Madhya Pradesh government, and as per this initiative, if you want to lodge an FIR, you need not to go to police station. Someone from the police will come at your home and they will lodge an FIR. You just need to dial 100 and then they are going to visit you and FIR will be lodged. What is the name of helpline launched by Union MHRD Minister for the students of Central University of Odisha? So the name of this helpline is Bharosa, and this was launched by Mr. Ramesh Nishank at the Central University of Odisha, and this was launched through a virtual platform. How many mandis, that means markets, are to be integrated with eNAM platform before 15th of May as per the target of Agriculture Ministry? So what is eNAM? eNAM stands for Electronic National Agriculture Market. So as per the target, more and more markets will be integrated with the eNAM platform. Now, recently the Union Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar launched integration of 117 additional wholesale mandis with eNAM platform. So after this integration, the total number of online mandis became 962 and the target is 1000 mandis before 15th of May. Present Agriculture Minister is Narendra Singh Tomar. His constituency is Morena in Madhya Pradesh. Next question is, which country won the inaugural FIDE Chess.com Online Nations Cup? So China won this Online Nations Cup, whereas India was on 5th position. USA was on 2nd position, while China was the winner. It is important to note that this was a chess tournament and it was organized online. Who is the first Indian to win the Fed Cup Hart Award for Asia or Oceania zone? So recently, Sania Mirza, who is a tennis player, became the first Indian to win the Fed Cup Hart Award, and the winners were determined through online voting. Which Indian sportsperson is set to take charge as the president of Paralympic Committee of India? So she is Deepa Malik, and recently she announced her retirement so that she can take charge as the president of Paralympic Committee of India, and she is the first Indian who won the Paralympic silver medal, and she is the only para-athlete to be given the Rajiv Gandhi Khel Ratna Award. what is the theme of International Nurses Day? So the theme was Nursing the World to Health. So every year on 12th of May, this Nurses Day is celebrated, and this is celebrated to mark the birth anniversary of Florence Nightingale. Betty Wright, who recently passed away, was associated with which profession? Right answer is singing. So she was a Grammy winner and she passed away recently. Now apart from her, recently Jerry Stiller passed away, and he was well-known comedian from USA. Which Indian organization administers the social security scheme Atal Pension Yojana? So recently this Atal Pension Yojana was in news because it completed 5 years. This scheme was launched in 2015 and it is managed by PFRDA, that is Pension Fund Regulatory and Development Authority. Which Union Ministry has launched a management information system named Champions Portal? So this was launched by MSME Ministry. So Union Ministry launched this Champions Portal, and this is going to provide solutions for the problems related to MSME sector. Champions stands for Creation and Harmonious Application of Modern Processes for Increasing the Output and National Strength. You need not to remember the full form, but you should be aware that it is an initiative of Ministry of MSME. Present Minister is Nitin Gadkari. His constituency is Nagpur. Sero survey that is proposed to be conducted by ICMR involves the predominant testing of which sample? So it is related to blood, and recently it was in news that ICMR and NCDC, that is National Center for Disease Control, and ICMR are going to launch Sero survey at district level. Sebastian Vettel, who is set to leave Ferrari at the end of 2020 season, belongs to which country? So he is from Germany, and recently he announced that he is going to leave Ferrari at the end of 2020 season. What is Airlines minus Corona that was seen in news recently? So it is a disinfectant robot, and a team of IIT and Stanford alumni have developed a technology named Airlines minus Corona, and it has received a certification from NABL. Indian sportsperson Manmeet Singh Walia, who passed away recently, was associated with which sports? So he was associated with table tennis, and he was the former national table tennis champion of India. He passed away recently. As per the India State Level Disease Burden Initiative, what is the cause of 68% of under 5 death in our country? That means the death of children who are below the age of 5 years. So the main reason is child and maternal malnutrition. So malnutrition is the main reason behind the death of more than 68% of children below the age of 5. The TVS Group and Sundaram Medical Foundation collaborated with which institution to develop a respiratory device called Sundaram Ventago? So for this purpose, IIT Madras, TVS Group and Sundaram Medical Foundation collaborated, and this is an affordable and automated respiratory assist device called the Sundaram Ventago. The National Public Health Institute of which country has committed $3.6 million to assist India in its fight against COVID-19. So recently, CDC, that is Center for Disease Control and Prevention of USA, has announced this $3.6 million to assist India in fight against this COVID-19. Indian Council for Cultural Relations, which was in news recently, is an organization under which Union Ministry? So this ICCR is under MEA. What is MEA? It is Ministry of External Affairs, and the main objective of this organization is to build cultural relationship with other countries. What is the quantum of the special economic package Atam Nirbhar Bharat Abhiyan announced by the Government of India? Now, Atam Nirbhar means self-reliance, So recently, Prime Minister announced this package and this is worth rupee 20 lakh crores. Which official index of India recently declined sharply to 16.5% in the month of March 2020. So the index is IIP, that is Index of Industrial Production, and it is published by CSO. What is CSO? It is Central Statistical Organization. What is the venue of FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup that has been rescheduled for February-March 2021. So because of this pandemic, this FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup has been rescheduled, and originally it was planned to be held across the 5 cities of India. So right answer is India, and this was supposed to be in Navi Mumbai, Guwahati, Ahmedabad, Kolkata and Bhubaneswar, and this is going to be the FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup. Who is the head of 6-member committee formed by the Sports Authority of India to draft procedures for resuming training after lockdown? So recently SAI, that is Sports Authority of India, formed a 6-member committee to prepare a SOP, that is Standard Operating Procedure, for resuming the training of sports persons after the lockdown. National Aerospace Laboratories, that has developed Swasth Vayu ventilator, is an aerospace laboratory of which organization? So this NAL is the Aerospace Laboratory of CSIR, that is Council of Scientific and Industrial Research. New Development Bank, which was previously BRICS Development Bank, provided 1 billion loan to India recently. Now the question is, where is the headquarters of this bank? So it is in Shanghai, and recently it was in news because of this $1 billion loan to India. This new development bank was established by the BRICS countries. Telia Rumal handloom cloth, which received GI tag recently, is associated to which state of India? So it is associated to Telangana, and recently it got GI tag. Apart from it, recently Jharkhand Sohrai Khowar painting also got GI tag. Haryana and Jammu and Kashmir have committed to provide tap connections to the people by 2022 under which scheme? So under Jal Jeevan Mission, Haryana and Jammu Kashmir have committed to provide tap connections to the people by 2022, and this Jal Jeevan Mission is an initiative of Ministry of Jal Shakti. Which state government is set to bring 3 ordinances for strengthening the agricultural economy of the state? So Odisha government is going to bring 3 ordinances to strengthen the agricultural economy of state. Now if we talk about ordinance, Article 123 of Indian Constitution contains the provisions of powers of President to issue ordinance, while Article 213 contains the provisions of ordinance powers of governors. As per the recent analysis of World Economic Forum, the CO2 emissions of which country have dropped for the first time after 40 years? So as per the analysis of WEF, the CO2 emissions of India have dropped for the first time after 40 years. And obviously this was because of the lockdown. Now WEF was also in news as WEF recently published World Gender Gap Index. Which bureaucrat has been appointed as the new chief of ASI? ASI stands for Archaeological Survey of India. So recently V. Vidyavati has been appointed as the new DG of ASI. Usha Sharma was the previous Director General of ASI. The headquarters of ASI is in New Delhi. The Chief Minister of which state or union territory has been recently elected unopposed to the State Legislative Council? So some states in our country have 2 houses. There are bicameral states. Bicameral means they have State Legislative Assembly and Legislative Council. So recently the Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Mr. Uddhav Thackeray, and few other candidates were declared to be elected unopposed to the State Legislative Council. Which Union Ministry has successfully patented the affordable PPE? What is PPE? It is Personal Protective Equipment. So recently, MOD, that is Defense Ministry, in association with NRDC, that is National Research Development Corporation, has filed a patent for the low-cost PPE which was developed by Indian Navy. Affordable rental housing complexes, that is ARHC, that are proposed in the economic stimulus package are to be constructed under which scheme? So recently Prime Minister announced 20 lakh crores package under Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, and as a part of that announcement, the Finance Minister proposed that the Government of India will launch a scheme under Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, and the scheme intends to provide affordable rental housing complexes which will be constructed through PPP. What is the estimated growth rate of India in 2020 as per the UN World Economic Situation and Prospectus Report? So it is approximately 1.2%. So recently United Nations released this World Economic Situation and Prospectus Report. As per this report, the global GDP is estimated to shrink by 3.2% in 2020. Who represented India in the G20 Virtual Trade and Investment Ministers meeting through video conferencing? So we have already covered this question in our news segment. So Mr. Piyush Goyal represented India in this G20 virtual meeting. Now for this year, Saudi Arabia is the president of G20. Next year, that means in 2020, Italy is going to host G20 summit, while India is going to host G20 summit in 2022. What is the name of Padma Bhushan awardee and veteran National Professor of Bangladesh who passed away recently? So he was Professor Anisuzzaman. So he was the well-known educationist and professor. He passed away recently. Apart from him, recently, veteran Bengali author Debesh Roy passed away. In addition to him, actor Sai Gundewar passed away. Kampa funds is associated to which union ministry? So Kampa stands for Compensatory Afforestation Fund Management and Planning Authority, and it was set up under MOEF, that is Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. Why it was set up? It was set up to promote afforestation activities as a way of compensating for the forest land diverted to non-forest purpose. Which global organization has approved $1 billion USD accelerating India's COVID-19 social protection response program? So this was recently approved by World Bank. It is important to note that World Bank had already approved $1 billion. So in total, World Bank committed $2 billion for India as of now for this pandemic situation. So this COVID-19 Special Protection Response Program is related to World Bank. What is Event Bot that was in news recently? So it is a malware. What is malware? It is a software with malicious intentions. So according to CERT, this malware attacks the Android users and it steals their financial information. So those Android users who use mobile banking in their mobile phones might be vulnerable to this new malware. Smart Enterprises Resource Planning is e-governance platform launched by which union ministry? So it was launched by MHRD, that is Ministry of Human Resource Development, and it is ERP. What is ERP? It is Enterprise Resource Planning. So this platform has been developed under National Mission of Education in Information and Communication Technology Scheme. What is Sachet, which was recently commissioned by the Indian Coast Guard? So recently, Union Defense Minister Mr. Rajnath Singh digitally commissioned a ship ICGS Sachet and two interceptor boats C450 and C451. So this Sachet is Indian Coast Guard ship, and recently it was digitally inaugurated by Defense Minister in Goa. Which global organization signed a 145 million US dollars agreement with the government of India and the government of West Bengal? So recently AIIB, that is Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, signed this agreement with government of India and West Bengal government, and this project will be implemented to improve the irrigation services and to ensure the flood management in Damodar Valley Command area in West Bengal. Goal, that is going online as leaders, is an initiative of which union ministry? So it is an initiative of MOTA, that is Ministry of Tribal Affairs. And as a part of this initiative, the Ministry of Tribal Affairs has partnered with Facebook to provide mentorship and training to the tribal youth through digitally enabled program. And recently it was in news because Tribal Affairs Minister Mr. Arjun Munda launched this scheme in certain new areas. INLCU L57 ship that was recently commissioned has been built by which shipbuilder? So it has been built by GRSE, that is Garden Reach Shipbuilders and Engineers. And recently it was in news because the Commander-in-Chief of Andaman and Nicobar Command recently commissioned this INLCU L57 ship into the Indian Navy at Port Blair, and it has been built by GRSE Kolkata. As per the third advanced estimates of production of major crops for 2019-20, what is the estimated total food grain production in our country? So it is 295.67 million ton. So recently the Ministry of Agriculture released the third advanced estimates of production of major crops, and as per this estimation it is 295.67 million ton, which is higher than the previous year. What is the term of DTIS, that is Defense Testing Infrastructure Scheme, which was recently approved by Defense Ministry? So recently Defense Minister Mr. Rajnath Singh approved the launch of DTIS, and the outlay for this particular scheme is 400 crores rupee, and it would be implemented for a term of 5 years. Now what is the objective of the scheme? This scheme aims to set up 6 to 8 new test facilities in partnership with private industry. Which institution published the Corona Studies series titled Psychosocial Impact of Pandemic and Lockdown and How to Cope with? So we have already covered this in yesterday's news, and it was recently launched by Union HRD Minister Mr. Ramesh Nishank, and it has been published by NBT, that is National Book Trust. So recently the e-version was launched, and the series was prepared by a study group, and this group has recommended that strengthening of preventive medical health component of NMHP. Which state is set to implement the sensor-based service delivery monitoring system for rural drinking water under Jal Jeevan Mission? So Gujarat is set to implement the sensor-based service delivery monitoring system for rural drinking water under Jal Jeevan Mission, and it has already implemented a pilot project in 2 districts of the state. So with the help of technology, the quality and quantity of water will be monitored. Now Gujarat was also in news recently. Gujarat launched Atmanirbhar Gujarat Sahay Yojana. So this scheme was launched to promote self-reliance in the state of Gujarat. Ghadials that were recently released in the Ghagra River in Uttar Pradesh belongs to which species family? So they belongs to crocodile family. It is important to note that the IUCN status of Ghadials is critically endangered. Debase Roy, who passed away recently, was associated to which field? So recently a well-known Bengali author, Debase Roy, passed away, and he was associated to literature. Apart from him, recently, renowned Marathi literatures and theatre personality Ratnakar Matkari passed away. What is the outlay of Agriculture Infrastructure Fund proposed in the Economic Stimulus Package? So recently Prime Minister announced Atmanirbhar Bharat initiative, and as per that 20 lakh crore package was announced, and within that package 1 lakh crore rupees has been announced for Agriculture Infrastructure Fund, and the objective of this fund is to provide support to the cold chain and post-harvest management infrastructure. What is the name of scheme proposed for the development of marine and inland fisheries in the stimulus package? So the name of scheme is Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana, and the scheme will be launched for the development of marine and inland fisheries. Actually, the scheme was proposed during the budget of 2020. Operation Greens, which was in news recently, is a scheme under which Union Ministry? So Operation Greens was launched in 2018, and it is a scheme under Ministry of Food Processing and Industries. And what is the objective of the scheme? This scheme was launched to enhance the value realization of TOP. What is TOP? It is tomatoes, onion, potatoes. National Real Estate Development Council, that is NAREDCO, which was in news recently, is a body under which Union Ministry? So it is under MOHUA, that is Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. So this National Real Estate Development Council was established in 1998, and it is a major association of real estate developers. Roberto Azevedo, who was in news recently, is the chief of which international organization? So recently, the chief of WTO, that is World Trade Organization, announced that he will step down from the post of Director General of WTO on 31st of August. Now, it is important to note that his tenure as DG of WTO will not end in August. Families in Development, Copenhagen and Beijing Plus 25 is the theme of which special day which was recently celebrated by United Nations? So, it was the theme of International Day of Families, and it was celebrated on 15th of May. This year, it celebrated with the theme of Families in Development, Copenhagen and Beijing Plus 25. When is the International Day of Light celebrated every year by UNESCO? So, it is celebrated on 16th of May. UNESCO stands for United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization. The headquarters of UNESCO is in France, in Paris. In fact, the headquarters of OECD is also in France, in Paris. Which GIF making and sharing website has been recently acquired by social media giant Facebook? Right answer is Jiffy. So recently Facebook acquired it for $400 million. Now, Facebook was also in news because of its investment in Reliance Jio. So recently, Facebook invested approximately 43,000 crores for 9.9% stakes in Reliance Jio. Which day is observed by the Health Ministry on 16th of May? So, on 16th of May, it is National Dengue Day, while 17th of May is World Hypertension Day. 17th of May is also celebrated as World Telecommunication and Information Society Day. On the other hand, 18th of May is celebrated as International Museum Day. The 36th Amendment of Indian Constitution made which territory as a full state of India? So, the 36th Amendment of Indian Constitution made Sikkim as a full state of India, and Sikkim became the 22nd state of Indian Union on 16th of May in 1975. So, that is why 16th of May is celebrated as the Sikkim Statehood Day, and Sikkim became the full-fledged state through 36th Amendment. In the NMIS online dashboard, which was recently developed by NDMA, that is National Disaster Management Authority, what does M stand for? So this new dashboard has been launched for migrants. So M stands for migrant and it is NMIS, that is National Migrant Information System. So this was launched to capture the information about the movement of migrants so that to facilitate them in a better manner. In the economic stimulus package, what is the proposed limit of FDI in defense manufacturing under automatic route? So recently the limit was increased from 49% to 74%, and this was announced during the recent economic stimulus package. Now, the finance minister, while announcing the economic package, also announced that the government will notify a list of weapons and platforms which will not be imported and will only be purchased from the domestic industries. In the recent economic stimulus package, it was announced that India is going to become a global MRO hub. Now, in this context, MRO is associated with which sector? So, MRO stands for maintenance, repair and overhaul. So, MRO hub is associated with the aviation sector. That means the maintenance, repair and overhaul of aircrafts. The electricity distribution companies, that is DISCOMs, in which category of territories are proposed to be privatized as a part of this economic stimulus package. So the DISCOMs in union territories will be privatized. Presently, Delhi is the only union territory which has private power DISCOMs. DISCOMs stands for power distribution companies. And in Delhi, Reliance and Tata are the private power distributing players. On which day the International Day of Living Together in Peace is celebrated by the United Nations. So it was celebrated on 16th of May. And it was celebrated by United Nations. It is important to note that the year 2020 was declared as the International Year for a Culture of Peace. What is the additional allocation in Manrega scheme for 2021 as per the recent announcement by the Union Finance Minister? So recently, 40,000 crores were allocated to the Manrega scheme in the economic stimulus package announced by the government. Now, why Manrega is so crucial? Because due to lockdown, a lot of people lost their jobs, and in order to boost the economy, specifically in rural areas, Manrega will provide employment opportunity to the people who are unskilled. What is the name of the scheme recently announced by the Indian government to promote digital education in our country? So the name of the scheme is Pradhan Mantri E-Vidya Yojana, and this is a comprehensive program that will include Diksha, through which e-content will be provided to all school children. In addition to that, it also includes the Shiksha Vani podcast of CBSE. What is the name of initiative launched by Union Finance Minister to provide psychosocial support to the students, teachers and families? So the name of this initiative is Mano Darpan, and it aims to provide support to the students, teachers and families in this time of pandemic. Now, in addition to this, recently top 100 universities in our country were allowed to start online courses, keeping this pandemic situation in mind, so that more and more people can study online. What is the minimum threshold to initiate insolvency proceedings under IBC, that is Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, as proposed in the economic package? So, the threshold limit has been increased from 1 lakh to 1 crore rupees, and this was done to benefit the MSME sector. Now, this will provide a relief to the companies that default on loans due to this COVID-19 situation. What is the modified borrowing limit of the states as a percentage of gross state domestic product for the year 2020-2021? So recently, the borrowing limit of the states has been increased to 5% from the previous limit of 3%. Now, it is important to note that this additional borrowing limit beyond 3.5% is linked to specific reforms. What is the theme of World Telecommunication and Information Society Day that was celebrated on 17th of May. So the theme was Connecting 2030 ICT for Sustainable Development Goals. So every year on 17th of May, this World Telecommunication and Information Society Day is celebrated. Now the 17th of May also marks the anniversary of signing the first International Telegraph Convention, and which led to the creation of ITU. What is ITU? It is International Telecommunication Union. Which country recently sworn in its new government, which is led by the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Benny Gantz. So recently, Benjamin Netanyahu formed the government in Israel and Benny Gantz took oath as alternate Prime Minister. So the Prime Minister of Israel is Benjamin Netanyahu and alternate Prime Minister is Benny Gantz. Ashraf Ghani and Abdullah Abdullah, who recently signed a power sharing agreement, are the leaders of which country? So these two are the leaders of Afghanistan, and recently they signed a power sharing agreement. Last year, presidential elections held in Afghanistan, and after that election, Ashraf Ghani and Abdullah Abdullah both claimed victory. So now they have signed a power sharing agreement, and as per that agreement, Ashraf Ghani will stay as the president while Abdullah Abdullah will be the head of NRHC. Which recently discovered microorganism has been named after Twitter. So recently a new fungus was named after Twitter, and it is officially named as Troglomyces twitteri. Bundesliga, the first tournament to resume after COVID-19 pandemic, is associated with which sports? So it is associated to football, and it is the professional football league in Germany, and it is the first tournament to resume after this COVID-19 lockdown. What is the name of super cyclone that has recently developed in the Bay of Bengal? So the name of the cyclone is Amphan, and recently this super cyclone developed in Bay of Bengal. Now it is important to note that it is claimed that it is the only second super cyclone faced by India in several decades. Rajiv Gandhi Kisan Nyaya Yojana is an initiative of which state government? So it is an initiative of Chhattisgarh government, and the state government will launch this scheme on 21st of May. Why 21st of May? Because it is the death anniversary of former Indian Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi. Now what is the purpose of the scheme? The objective of the scheme is to boost the rural economy, and as per this scheme, the state will infuse 5100 crores through DBT. Who is the chairperson of committee of experts whose recommendations on defense reforms have been accepted and implemented? So recently, government implemented few important recommendations of committee of experts under the chairmanship of Lieutenant General D.B. Sikhatkar, and this committee had recommended to speed up the process of road construction on the border areas. Apart from that, it also recommended that the work, that means the road construction work that is beyond the capacity of BRO, should be outsourced. Which country announced a $2 billion USD fund to help developing countries for fighting COVID-19 at the recently held World Health Assembly? So recently the 73rd World Health Assembly held virtually, and from Indian side, our Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan participated in this. And China committed $2 billion to fight against this COVID-19 during this World Health Assembly. What is the theme of World Hypertension Day that was observed on 17th of May? So right answer is measure your blood pressure, control it, and live longer. This was the theme. Now it is important to note that due to this COVID-19 pandemic, the celebrations of World Hypertension Day has been postponed to 17th of October 2020. Usually, it is observed on 17th of May. On which day the International Museum Day is celebrated? So, it is celebrated on 18th of May. And the theme for this year, International Museum Day, was Museums for Equality, Diversity and Inclusion. And on this occasion, the Culture Ministry hosted a webinar on revitalizing the museums and cultural spaces. Answer in comment box who is our present Culture Minister. Which Indian Nobel laureate was present in the group of laureates which called for all governments to spend 1 trillion USD for marginalized children? So recently, approximately 88 Nobel laureates across the world, including Kailash Satyarthi, united and called for the governments to spend 1 trillion USD for the marginalized children during this lockdown imposed due to COVID-19. Who was the head of ICC Cricket Committee, which has recommended the ban of using the saliva to polish the ball? So saliva is used to shine the ball so that it swings better. Now, saliva can be a major source of transmission of coronavirus. Therefore, the ICC Cricket Committee, which is headed by Anil Kumble, recommended the ban of saliva to shine the ball. Now, it is important to note that the use of sweat to shine was not prohibited. However, the committee prohibited the use of some external substance to shine the ball. Kevin Mayer, who was recently seen in news, is set to become the chief executive officer of which popular platform? So the former executive of Walt Disney, Kevin Mayer, is set to become the chief executive officer of TikTok. Which country's cabinet has approved their new political map that included Lipu Lake, Kalapani and Limpiadhura? So recently, there was a controversy regarding boundary between India and Nepal. Now, this controversy came into picture when Indian Defence Minister recently inaugurated a link road that passes through Lipu Lake. Which Indian state has launched the Charan Paduka campaign to assist migrant labourers? So we have already covered it in our news section. It was launched by Madhya Pradesh and it was started from the police station at Indore and it is being implemented with the help of civilians. Now, what is the purpose of this campaign? The purpose is to assist the migrant labourers who are walking barefoot. 18th of May is observed to acknowledge the medical community who are working to find a safe vaccine for which disease. So 18th of May is observed as AIDS Vaccine Day. AIDS stands for Acquired Immunodeficiency Syndrome. How many cities of India were given the 5-star garbage-free tag under the garbage-free star rating for cities? So it is an initiative of Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, and as per this initiative, 6 cities were given the 5-star garbage-free tag. Estonia, Latvia and Lithuania, which were recently in news, are the countries of which continent? So these are the countries of Europe and recently they were in news because of a travel bubble. What is travel bubble? It means the travel within a limited area or within a bubble is allowed. Now, why this concept was in news? It was in news because recently these 3 countries allowed a travel bubble in this pandemic situation. The CBM extraction rights of Coal India was proposed to be auctioned. Now the question is, what does CBM stand for? So CBM stands for coal bed methane, and recently as a part of stimulus package it was announced that the auction of coal bed methane blocks from Coal India and auction of 50 coal blocks will be done immediately for commercial mining. So CBM is a form of natural gas extracted from coal beds. Who has been conferred the 2019 Alexander Dalrymple Award for his contribution to Indian hydrography? So India's chief hydrographer of Indian Naval Hydrographic Vice Admiral Vinay Badwar has been awarded this Alexander Dalrymple Award for his contribution to Indian hydrography. Smiling Buddha was the codename of which first of its kind of operation of India? So it is Operation which is related to the first nuclear test in the Pokhran in Rajasthan, which was conducted by India on 18th of May. And recently it was in news as India celebrated the 46th anniversary of this nuclear test. And so Indira Gandhi was the Prime Minister at that point of time. As per the notification of Jammu and Kashmir administration, what is the minimum duration of residence in the Union Territory to be eligible for domicile status? So recently, new rules were announced for Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir in the context of domicile status. And as per the new rules, all the people who have resided in the Union Territory for 15 years or who have studied for 7 years and had appeared in class 10th or class 12th examination are eligible. In addition to that, children of government official who have served in the Union Territory for 10 years are eligible. The Indian Railways' most powerful 12,000 horsepower electric locomotive has been manufactured by which company? So, this has been manufactured by Alstom, and it is a French company, and recently it was in news as Indian Railways operationalized its first 12,000 horsepower electric locomotive. Now, where it was operationalized? It was operationalized between Deen Dayal Upadhyay Station to Shivpur in Uttar Pradesh. Who has been appointed as the President of Indian Steel Association? So recently, the former President of Indian Steel Association, T.V. Narendran, resigned from the post of President, and he was associated to Tata Steel. Now, new President has been announced, and he is Dilip Oman. So he has been appointed as the President for next 2 years. Where is the headquarters of United Nations Relief and Work Agency for Palestine refugees in the Near East located? So recently this UNWRA, that is United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine refugees, was in news. It was in news because India gave $2 million to provide support to this agency for their work for Palestinian refugees. And the headquarters is located in Amman in Jordan. Thomas Tabane, who has recently resigned, was the Prime Minister of which country? So he was the Prime Minister of Lesotho, and he resigned recently because of a controversy in which he and his wife were suspected of involvement in a murder case. Tedros Adhanom is the head of which international organization? So it is an easy question. He is the head of WHO, that is World Health Organization. Recently, he was in news because he announced that WHO is going to initiate an independent review of the handling of coronavirus pandemic by WHO. Vasco De Gama, the first European traveler to reach India via sea route in 1498, was associated to which country? So he was associated to Portugal, and recently this event was in news because Vasco De Gama arrived in India on 20th of May in 1498. Which global technology firm has launched an e-commerce venture called Shops? So this has been announced by Facebook, and with the help of this new platform, it is going to enable small businesses to set up their stores on Facebook and its entity Instagram for free. What is the name of mobile application launched by HRD Ministry which provides the facility of mock test for exams like JEE and NEET? So due to lockdown, students were not able to attend the mock test for these examinations. Therefore, MHRD Minister Ramesh Nishank launched this National Test Abhyas so that student can take mock test on this application, and this has been developed by NTA. Who has been appointed as the chairperson of NABARD? What is NABARD? It is National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development. So recently, Govind Rajulu Chintala has been appointed as the new chairperson of NABARD. The committee also cleared the appointment of Saji KV as the Deputy Managing Director at NABARD for 5 years. What is the name of first Agri Futures Index of India to be launched by NCDEX. What is NCDEX? It is National Commodity and Derivatives Exchange Limited. So recently it was announced that NCDEX is going to launch India's first Agri Futures Index, and the name of this index is AgriDex. The headquarters of NCDEX is in Mumbai. Mumbai is in Maharashtra. What is the theme of World Bee Day? So, we have already discussed this question in our yesterday's news section. Now, there is an important correction. Yesterday, I had mentioned that the theme for 2020 was Save the Bees, but that was wrong theme. That was for 2019. The correct theme for this year is Be Engaged. Now, there is one more correction. Few days ago, I had mentioned that this Sekhatkar committee was set up in 2018, but it was set up in 2016 by then Defense Minister Mr. Manohar Parrikar. So, please check these two corrections. The Ayushman Bharat scheme has recently crossed which milestone number in regards with beneficiaries? So, recently it completed 1 crore beneficiaries. It is important to note that this scheme was launched in 2018 in Ranchi in Jharkhand, and recently this scheme was in news as it completed 1 crore beneficiaries. The scheme is implemented by NHA. Ratnakar Matkari, who passed away recently, was associated with which profession? So, he was a well-known Marathi writer and he passed away recently. He was a versatile writer of Marathi literature. Who is set to take charge as the chairman of WHO Executive Board from 2020? So, Dr. Harshvardhan is going to take charge as a new chairman of WHO Executive Board. So, this Executive Board is a 34 members body, and Dr. Harshvardhan is going to succeed the current chairman, who is from Japan. The central government has announced a scheme to completely solarize which famous temple? So recently it was announced that there will be a scheme for complete solarization of Konark Sun Temple in Odisha, and for this purpose MNRE, that is Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, will provide the financial support, and this project will be implemented by OREDA. What is the name of social security scheme for senior citizens that has been extended for 3 more years? So the name of the scheme is Pradhan Mantri Vay Vandana Yojana. The Emergency Credit Line Guarantee Scheme, which was in news, is associated to which sector? So it is associated to MSME sector, and recently this was in news because Union Cabinet has approved an additional funding of rupee up to 3 lakhs crore through this Emergency Credit Line Guarantee Scheme for MSME sector. The mandatory norms for accepting payments by electronic mode has been exempted for which type of companies? So previously, the Finance Ministry had inserted Section 269 SU in Finance Act to encourage the digital transactions in country, and this section made it mandatory that business over a turnover of 50 crores should accept payments through e-payment mode. Now, the problem is that this e-payment methods have certain limitations. That means they have maximum limit, and therefore now for B2B, what is B2B? It means business to business transactions. Which Indian state has partnered with SIDBI and launched a startup fund for providing employment to the migrant workers? So recently, Uttar Pradesh government has partnered with SIDBI for Uttar Pradesh Startup Fund. What is SIDBI? It is Small Industries Development Bank of India. So, with the help of this fund, the youth will be encouraged to form startups. India recently signed an addendum with which company to operationalize 5 new ports of coal to enhance the trade and connectivity. So, for this purpose, India signed an addendum to the Protocol on Inland Water Transit with the Shipping Ministry of Bangladesh. So, this addendum was signed with the Shipping Ministry of Bangladesh. The capital of Bangladesh is Dhaka, currency is Taka. Simon Reinhardt, who was in news recently, is the new chief economist and vice president of which global institution? So she is the new chief economist and vice president of World Bank. Now, apart from her, few other appointments were in news recently. Dilip Oman became the new president of ISA, that is Indian Steel Association. Google, along with which technology company, has released their collaborative application programming interface, that is API, for contact tracing. So for this purpose, Google and Apple have made a application programming API. So for this purpose, Google and Apple have made the application programming interface, that is API, for contact tracing. Which technology company has recently won the prestigious cloud project with the US Department of Defense? So recently, Google has won this prestigious project of cloud computing with the US Department of Defense. And this project is about building secure cloud management solution to detect the cyber threats. As per the recent data of RBI, which type of banks made highest credit disbursement for the last 3 years? As per RBI report, the private banks made the highest credit expansion and their shares in the total credit expanded from 30% in 2017 to 35.7% in 2019. So you can see that there is a good growth in case of private sector in credit disbursement. The death anniversary of which former Indian Prime Minister is observed as Anti-Terrorism Day. So 21st of May is the death anniversary of Indian Prime Minister Mr. Rajiv Gandhi, and his death anniversary is observed as Anti-Terrorism Day, as on this day in 1991 he was assassinated during an election campaign. Ariz Aduriz, who recently announced his retirement, is associated to which sports? So he is associated to football, and recently he announced his retirement. Which famous platform has introduced a feature called bedtime reminder as a part of its wellness and screen time tools? So this was announced by YouTube. Why this was announced? Because this will enable the user to cut down the screen time without compromising the sleep. Safe harbor rules, which were in news recently, are associated to which union ministry? So safe harbor rules are associated to Ministry of Finance, and these rules are related to transfer pricing. Now your homework is to study about transfer pricing and what is arm's length principle in this context. The University Grants Commission, that is UGC, has directed universities to use the online courses of which portal for transferring credits. So UGC directed universities to use the SWAM portal of MHRD to transfer the credits. Who will fix the domestic airfares of India for 3 months when domestic flights resume after lockdown? So Civil Aviation Ministry is going to fix the prices for 3 months after resumption of the flights. So the ministry will fix the upper and lower limit. Which country recently announced its decision to withdraw from Open Skies Treaty? So it was recently announced by USA that it is going to withdraw from this Open Skies Treaty, and this is a 35 countries treaty that allow unarmed surveillance flights over the territories of other member countries. On which day the World Day for Cultural Diversity for Dialogue and Development is celebrated every year? So it is celebrated on 21st of May, and UNESCO is working to promote the culture as a part of its Share Our Heritage campaign. The headquarters of UNESCO is in France, in Paris, and France is the host of 2024 Summer Olympic Games. Which year has marked the first official observance of International Tea Day? So for the first time it was celebrated in 2020, and the theme was harnessing benefits for all from field to cup. Shamla Ji Bhave, who passed away recently, was associated with which field? So she was associated to music, and She was well known for her command over both Hindustani and Carnatic music. GFR has been in news for amendments related to procurement of government. What is GFR? So, it is General Financial Rules, and as per the recent rules, the goods and services valued less than 200 crores will be procured from domestic firms. So, this will give a boost to MSME sector. As per the recent announcement of RBI, what is the updated repo rate? So, recently, RBI announced few changes, and as per this, repo rate is 4%. It has been reduced from 4.40. Which country is the leading manufacturer of PPE body coveralls? PPE stands for personal protective equipment. So China is the world's largest manufacturer, while India is on second position. Oil and Natural Gas Corporation, that is ONGC, partnered with which public sector enterprise to set up a joint venture company for renewable energy business. So ONGC and NTPC have announced their partnership for this renewable energy business. Rayalaseema Lift Irrigation Scheme, which was in news recently, was proposed to be implemented in which state? So it is related to Andhra Pradesh, and recently it was in news because of an NGT order which stayed this particular project. So this was in news because of an NGT order which stayed this particular project. What is NGT? It is National Green Tribunal. What is the name of internship program launched by Environment Minister associated with biodiversity? So the name of this program is Biodiversity Sanrakshan Internship Program, and for this purpose NBA, that is National Biodiversity Authority, and UNDP India collaborated. It is Biodiversity Conservation Program, and it is 1 year internship program for postgraduate. Dibru-Sakhova National Park, which was seen in news recently, is associated to which state? So it is associated to Assam, and recently it was in news because of the oil exploration permissions to Oil India Limited. Now, due to several environmental issues, Oil India Limited is not going to enter into this national park. However, it is going to use ERD technology for the exploration. What is the theme of International Day for Biological Diversity? So every year on 22nd of May, this International Day for Biological Diversity is celebrated, and the theme was Our Solutions Are in Nature. Which Indian state is set to launch Everybody Will Get Employment scheme? So this has been announced by Madhya Pradesh, and the objective of this scheme is to provide Manrega cards to the laborers of state. Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology has integrated with IMD services on which application? So recently, IMD weather forecasting services were integrated on the Umang app, and this is an app by Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. SDR, that is Special Drawing Rights, is associated with which international institution? So SDR are related to IMF, that is International Monetary Fund. So SDR was created by IMF in 1969 as a supplementary international reserve asset. The RBI has extended the rupee 15,000 crores refinance facility that was granted earlier to which All India Financial Institution. So it was for SIDBI. What is SIDBI? It is Small Industries Development Bank of India. RBI also announced the extension of a line of credit of rupee 15,000 crores for Exim Bank. Private equity major KKR has bought 2.32% stakes in Jio platforms. Now the question is, this company is based in which country? So it is from USA, and recently it was in news because of investment in Jio platforms. Which Indian state or union territory launched a revival package for MSME sector called Restart? So it was started by Andhra Pradesh to revive the economy. Now MSME stands for Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises. Now this restart is related to revival of MSME in Andhra Pradesh. Now there was one more restart which was in news. and it was rebooting the economy through science, technology, and research translations. What is the theme of Hunar Haat initiative that was proposed to be launched after lockdown? So the theme of this Hunar Haat initiative is local to global. This Hunar Haat is an initiative of Ministry of Minority Affairs, and this initiative organizes a skill fair that aims to generate employment for the craft persons. As per the Forbes magazine, who is the highest paid female athlete of the world as of May 2020. So she is Naomi Osaka, and she became the highest paid female athlete of the world. She is from Japan and she is related to tennis. Microcomb, which was in news recently, is associated with which field? So it is related to internet and communication. And recently it was in news because the scientist in Australia recorded world's fastest internet data speed, and it was of 44.2 Tbps. On which day the World Turtle Day is celebrated across the world? So it is celebrated on 23rd of May, and a non-profit organization named ATR, that is American Tortoise Rescue, organized the celebration event for this World Turtle Day. As per the recent statement of Bombay High Court, which right is the part of right to life? So Bombay High Court recently noted that right to a decent burial is a part of right to life. Now this was in news because of various controversies related to the burials of patients who died due to COVID-19. Samsung India partnered with which major technological company to train offline retailers about digital technologies? So for this purpose, Samsung partnered with Facebook, and they are going to train the offline retailers so that these offline retailers can start their business online. Now, Samsung is a company of South Korea. The headquarters of Samsung is in Seoul in South Korea. Which state has recently granted industry status to the sports? So it was granted by Mizoram, and it became the first state to do so. Now, what will be the benefit due to this decision? Once a sector is granted industry status, it will attract more investment, and therefore it will help in the development of that particular sector. So in this case, it will help in the development of sports infrastructure in the state of Mizoram. Ashley Cooper, a veteran sports personality who passed away recently, was associated with which sports? So he was from Australia and he was associated to tennis. He passed away recently. Apart from him, recently Mohit Baghel passed away. He was associated to acting and he was a Bollywood actor. Khudol, which was in the United Nations Top 10 Global Initiative to fight against COVID-19, is implemented in which state of India? So it is implemented in Manipur. As per the status paper on government debt, what is the amount of central government debt as percentage of GDP? So recently Union government published this 9th edition of status paper on government debt, and as per this edition, central government debt stood at 45.7% of GDP at 2018-19. Chamba Tunnel, which was in news, was inaugurated in which state or union territory? So this tunnel is related to Uttarakhand, as it was inaugurated recently by Minister of Road Transport and Highways Nitin Gadkari through video conferencing. CSIR IIIM, that is Indian Institute of Integrative Medicine, partnered with which company to develop new RT-LAMP based COVID-19 diagnostic kit? So for this purpose, CSIR IIIM has partnered with Reliance Industries. What is RT-LAMP? RT-LAMP stands for Reverse Transcriptase Loop Mediated Isothermal Amplification. Which Indian state or union territory is set to declare lakh farming as an agricultural activity? So Chhattisgarh is going to declare lakh farming as an agricultural activity. What is lakh? Lakh is the sticky secretion of several species of lakh insects. Which Indian American has won the Inventor of the Year award from the NYIPLA, that is New York Intellectual Property Law Association. So Rajiv Joshi has won this award, and he is an Indo-American and he is associated with IBM. He won this award from New York Intellectual Property Law Association. What is Pontius sanctus, which was recently in news? So it is a fish, and it is a new silverfish species that has been discovered recently, and it is a freshwater fish. Which state is set to launch virtual queue management application for liquor, and the name of this application is BevQ. So it is launched by Kerala, and it has been developed by Kochi-based startup Faircode Technologies. So this is going to help in the virtual management of queue for liquor. Who is the author of book The Ichabod, which was in news recently? So she is J.K. Rowling. She is Harry Potter fame author, and recently she unveiled her story online. The title of the story is The Ichabod, and it is the first children's story by the author which is not linked to Harry Potter. Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley, who were in news recently, are associated with which field? So these two are related to space mission, and recently they were in news because the first manned space flight of SpaceX for NASA took off for ISS. What is ISS? It is International Space Station. Which rating agency, through its Global Economic Outlook report, estimated India's growth at -5%? So this is related to Fitch Ratings, and recently it released Global Economic Outlook. As per that, the biggest estimate cut was for India. Which ride-sharing company's subsidiary has acquired Netherlands-based manufacturer Atego BV? So Ola Electric, a subsidiary of Ola, has acquired the Netherlands-based Atego BV. Catch-up application, which was in news recently, has been launched by which major company? So it has been launched by Facebook, and this is a free phone call making application, and it has been launched in USA as a pilot service. What is pilot? It means it has been launched on a trial basis. What is the target year to achieve 220 lakh metric tons of fish production as per Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana? So the target year is 2024-25, and recently the Minister for Fisheries, Animal Husbandry and Dairying, Power Finance Corporation, partnered with Narmada Basin Projects Company Limited to fund power projects in which state of India? So recently PFC has partnered with NBPCL to fund the power projects in Madhya Pradesh. This PFC is a PSU and it is under Ministry of Power. Which international toy brand has collaborated with Niti Aayog and Save the Children to support the children impacted by the COVID-19? So Lego Group has partnered with Niti Aayog and Save the Children to support the kids impacted by this COVID-19, and under this partnership, Lego will promote learning through play. Which country announced a bug bounty program to incentivize those who identify the flaws in its COVID-19 contact tracing app? So this has been announced by India, and this has been announced in the context of Arogya Setu app. Who has been appointed as the new president of New Development Bank? So recently, Marcos Trojo has been appointed as the new president of New Development Bank. Now he is from Brazil. The New Development Bank is BRICS Bank. BRICS stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa. And the headquarters of New Development Bank is in Shanghai in China. Now apart from him, recently Leo Puri has been appointed as the new chairperson of JP Morgan for South and Southeast Asia. Twitter recently linked the tweet of which countries head to fact-checking page. So recently, Twitter linked the tweet of Donald Trump, that is the President of United States, with a fact-checking page. However, the Twitter clarified that this decision or this particular action was taken to provide the context to the tweet of President. On the other hand, US President alleged that the Twitter is interfering in the 2020 presidential elections. And in this context, one section was in use, and it is Section 230 of Communications Decency Act. Which country's survey team recently became the first to reach the peak of Everest this year? So Mount Everest is the highest peak in this entire world, and the survey team of China became the first to reach the peak of Mount Everest this year. And this is a part of a project to remeasure the exact height of Mount Everest. Now, it is important to note that every year, International Everest Day is observed on 29th of May, and it is special because the Tenzing Norgay from Nepal and Edmund Hillary from New Zealand had climbed Mount Everest on this particular day, that means on 29th of May in 1953. Which country has commenced the development of its first stealth bomber named Pak-Da? So, it is Russia. What is the full form of this Pak-Da? It stands for Perspective Aviation Complex for Long Range Aviation. As per the recent study by Deloitte, which country is placed at the top spot in Global Anxiety Index? So, India is on the top of this Global Anxiety Index, and this has been conducted by Deloitte. Name of the index is Global Anxiety Index. On which day this World Hunger Day is observed every year? So it is observed on 28th of May, and the objective of this day is to spread awareness about the acute hunger and the ways how we can solve the problem of hunger and poverty. Now, in the context of hunger, there is a Global Hunger Index. Now, answer in comment box what is India's rank as per this index, and which organization published this Global Hunger Index. Which organization has launched an artificial intelligence based chatbot named Pi? So it has been launched by NPCI, that is National Payment Corporation of India, and this is artificial intelligence based chatbot, and it has been launched to spread awareness about the various products related to NPCI. Which day is celebrated on 28th of May by the Women's Global Network for Reproductive Rights? So it is International Day of Action for Women's Health, and it is celebrated by Women's Global Network for Reproductive Rights. Who is the head of 11-member Annual Grant and Affiliation Committee constituted by Indian Olympic Association? So Indian Olympic Association constituted this committee to review and to monitor the annual grant and affiliation fees of its member. Asian Development Bank recently signed a $177 million loan agreement with India to upgrade road connectivity in which state? So this has been launched for Maharashtra to boost the road connectivity. What is the new name of Central Institute of Plastics Engineering and Technology, that is CIPET? So now it has been renamed, and the new name is Central Institute of Petrochemicals Engineering and Technology, and it is a national institution under Ministry of Chemical and Fertilizers, and it is located in Chennai. On which day the World Vape Day was celebrated? So it was celebrated on 30th of May. It is celebrated to spread awareness about vaping and to spread awareness about the harmful effects of e-cigarettes. Which international association has proposed €750 billion COVID-19 recovery fund? So it has been proposed by European Union Commission, and this has been proposed to revive the economy. Which e-commerce platform has partnered with Karnataka Mango Board to sell fresh produce of fruits online? So this is a tri-party agreement. One party is farmer, and on the behalf of farmers, Karnataka Mango Board partnered. Another party is Flipkart, and third party is India Post. So Flipkart will provide a platform for the online sale of these fruits. Farmers will provide those fruits and India Post will deliver those fruits. So recently this has been done. Which Indian state has proposed to launch a first of its kind state health register project? So this has been proposed by Karnataka to launch first of its kind state health register. So it is going to maintain the health database of people of Karnataka. Now Karnataka was also in news because of Hack initiative, and recently Karnataka's Center of Excellence in Cyber Security launched this first cyber security accelerator for startups. Mustaba Hussain, who passed away recently, was associated to which field? So he was associated to literature and he was associated to Urdu literature. He passed away recently. Apart from him, recently Bejan Daruwala passed away. He was well-known astrologer.